Hey folks, with Star Citizen's 3.15 patch, there's been a complete wipe of almost everything earned in-game, as well as a revamp to how personal inventory, ship components, and player health work. Here, we'll cover everything you need to know to have an efficient start and not be caught unawares by 3.15 changes while bounty hunting. There's timestamps in the description if you want to jump ahead, so let's get into it. So the first thing you have to do when entering the persistent universe in 3.15 is select your home location. This is where all of your items will be located and where anything new that you buy from the website will be delivered. Initially, this is also where you respawn after you die. Unlike 3.14, after death you won't automatically respawn at the last place you requested to land at. If you set your home to Orison or New Babbage, you'll respawn in the newly introduced hospitals in those cities. Lorville and Area 18, however, don't have hospitals yet, so if those are your home locations, you'll respawn in the orbital stations floating above the planet, which are Everest Harbor or Bygenie Point. You can change the respawn location once you're in-game, so other than this location being where your real money ships and gear are delivered, it doesn't really matter too much. You can always move by throwing your stuff into a ship and going somewhere else and then claiming all your ships to that new location. That said, you should pick a convenient starting spot for what you want to do. For bounty hunting, that means either pick Orison or Lorville, depending on if you want to do bounties in Crusader space or Hurston space. Personally, I recommend Crusader space because I find asteroids easier to avoid than the debris fields of Hurston, and because bounties almost always spawn close to each other around the Crusader moon of Yela, rather than spread around the 4 moons of Hurston. So for Crusader bounties, I'd say the most important thing to do is to efficiently set your respawn. By default, that's your home location, but you can change it to any hospital or space station clinic by visiting them and updating your regeneration location on the console. Since Port Olisar doesn't have a medical clinic, we're going to set our regeneration location to Grim HEX. This is actually a fantastic spot, because when you do get blown up, and you will, it takes under 2 minutes to get from when you wake up in the medical bay to be in your ship flying in space. That's 8 minutes faster than if you set your respawn in Orison, and it's even 30 seconds faster than if you woke up in Everest Harbor. The path from the medical bed to the ship in Grim HEX only has one elevator, and that's the elevator to the hangar. And you'll never spawn on an open pad, so you'll never be a sitting duck like you might be at Port Olisar. The downsides of Grim HEX are that the janky vibe of it can be off-putting, and that it can take a bit of time to find the hangars to land in if you aren't used to it. I'm showing some footage here of me flying to the hangars so you have an idea of where to go. Generally, I like to toggle my quantum drive on and off to see the location on the HUD, and once I'm close enough, I fly around the top of the asteroid until I can see all the hangar entrances. If you see the open landing pads, you can land there too if you're just going to pick something up. But you can't repair or restock your ship there, and if you leave it there when logging out, it won't count as the ship being at Grim HEX, so you'll have to claim it next time you log in. I'm not going to go into depth about what components and weapons to use here, because my previous video talked about that in detail, but rather I'm going to talk about how you go about the process of getting and fitting components to your ship in this latest patch. In 3.15, there are changes to how ship components and ship claiming work that makes this a lot more tedious to do. In the past, when you claimed a ship, it ends up in the void and you can retrieve it anywhere without a wait. Now, when you claim a ship, it's actually claimed to that location, as if you flew that ship there and stored it. This means you can no longer change the fit of an insurance-claimed ship from any location like you could in 3.14. A similar change has happened to components. Components behave much more realistically now in that they're located in the location that you bought them, and they can only be fitted to ships that are in that same location. And when you swap a weapon or a component on a ship, the old item that used to be equipped to that ship is now essentially tied to that location like you took it off there. So we no longer have this global inventory of components that we can magically pull from anytime we want to change our ship fit. You can see where all your stuff is scattered around the verse using this new tab in the Mobi-Glass called Knickknacks. This means if you want to centralize where your stuff is located, the best way to do that is to strip all your ships of all their components in the place that you want to call home, except keep a quantum drive on one ship. Fly that one ship to the component shop and claim all the other ships that you want to fit to that location. Even though it's had some of its inventory moved around, I still recommend New Babbage, since it has the CF series laser repeaters, Omni Sky laser cannons, and the best shields and missiles available there. You can't buy everything at once in the beginning, so prioritize getting the best weapons for your ship and fill in the rest once you've made more money. Once you've bought and fit everything you wanted to your ship, hold backspace to teleport back to your respawn, which should be Grim HEX. Claim all your ships back, or just claim one and fly to Port Olisar and claim all your ships there if that's where you want your home to be. You don't need to call Grim HEX home if you don't like the vibe, but that's just where you're going to get your low-cost medical care. If you do base out of Port Olisar though, it's been moved so that you no longer have a clear sightline to Yellow where most of the bounties are going to spawn. The star map doesn't plot a course for you either, so you'll have to manually fly to the moon Selin, and then from there you can get to Yella. One last thing is that there is a way to avoid all the shopping hassle. You can just fly around, buy components wherever you want, and then perform a character reset. This will reset your bounty certification missions and delete your consumables like ammo and the various drug pens, but you'll keep weapons, armor, ship components, and any progress you've made on your reputation, and get to select a new home location that will move all of the kept items and ships to that new home location automatically. So we were able to take advantage of Grim HEX's fast respawn because we don't equip anything non-default to our character. Anytime you die in 315, all of the items in your ship and the gear on your character are left where you died. So if you equip custom items, you either lose them or you have to spend time and energy going back to get them. If you want to be efficient early on, just equip the free suit and helmet that they give you when you die, since you'll get a new set anytime you blow up or backspace. This makes it so that death actually costs us nothing while bounty hunting. We can actually save money by self-destructing our ship sometimes if it's damaged, since when claiming it back, we get back a repaired ship rather than having to pay for repairs. If you're doing other types of missions, you can equip more things, but if you're going to do something dangerous, why carry more risk than you need? So the last part of this is the best part, actually doing bounties. The difficulty of the missions that you have available is decided by your bounty hunting guild reputation, and it starts with very low risk targets and works its way up to extreme risk targets. The sweet spot for making money quickly is to do very high risk targets, or VHRTs, as quickly as you can one after the other by only killing that named target and ignoring the wingmen. There's another reputation that's important, which is the reputation with the security forces in the area that you're doing the bounties, so either Crusader or Hurston. This decides how much bonus payout you get for completing missions, going up in increments of 5% per rank up to a 20% max bonus. Currently the UX is bugged and it shows that the reputations with Crusader and Hurston actually unlock missions, but that's not how it works. Check out my previous video for combat and fitting tips if you're struggling with these guys, since with a bit of practice, pretty much any ship with guns should be able to beat those missions. Here I'm doing one of the earlier certification missions to unlock the next level in my starter ship, the Avenger Titan. After completing this low risk target certification mission, I'll unlock the LRT bounties, and I'll run those over and over until I get a certification mission for medium risk targets. You keep climbing up in difficulty until you're either struggling to consistently kill targets quickly, or you get to VHRTs, and then just repeat that type of mission over and over to make money. That said, right now in 315.0 there are some bugs with bounty hunting. I've listed a few known ones on the screen with their workarounds so you're not caught by surprise, but the biggest issue is the one around getting credit for your bounty kills. You need to wait for the quest marker to update to the bounty target to actually get credit for the kill and complete the mission, but if you kill the bounty before that happened, you can wait around in that same spot and you'll get credit when that quest marker would have updated anyway. By the time you've unlocked your more dangerous bounties, you should have made enough money that your primary combat ship is decently equipped. I think I'd made something around 300k by the time I unlocked HRTs, which is when you start encountering things like Valkyries and Hurricanes, and 300k is more than enough to equip most combat ships. I wanted to show a VHRT certification mission here, but my account is actually bugged and I'm not getting the certification missions. Go figure. So I'm doing this HRT certification in an Avenger Titan with 2 size 1 Palisade shields and the recommended fixed CF series laser repeater loadout. I fly decoupled with my cap set to max weapons, and I'll only move it around if I need to recharge my shields or my afterburner. When fighting against these larger, higher DPS enemies, you want to avoid jousting them if possible, so don't just charge past them. In a head-on engagement, they'll likely out DPS you, and you'll lose the battle of attrition. We have an agility advantage over them, so we try to dance around their fire and position ourselves in a way that we get clean shots on them while also avoiding their fire, and after a bit of time we'll take them out. Warp out of there right away and grab the next HRT or VHRT and keep making back your money. Once I make enough money, I'll probably get either a Reliant Core or maybe I'll save up for a Hornet Ghost. The Core is really my preferred choice, but it has some issues with sometimes being summoned in an unreachable way on pads. So then, my next best options become either the Hornet Ghost, since it's pretty tanky and does fantastic DPS, and only costs 1.8 million Alpha UEC fitted in game, or I might go for something a bit heavier like a Vanguard Sentinel, which costs about 2.3 million fitted in game. Well folks, let me know if you have any questions about my recommendations. Hopefully this video helps you build back a beautiful bank, and I hope you've liked it. Cheers.